So why aren't you still coming? You can ride in the car, you can ride the bus. If you're busy in the morning, come for the chicken dinner and the raffles in the afternoon. If you're busy in the afternoon, come for the breakfast and that in the morning. So there's no excuse unless you're completely out of town. But don't be out of touch. Be patriotic. Come on down there and be a part of it. You'd be surprised. And nobody has to say anything. We all know why you came. We're not in your face about anything, saying you got to remember, you can't forget. You know, none of that. You come, and in silent testimony, you're there. We know why you came. So, Dennis, that's all I got. And there's posters way back in the corner on those video machines down there. Come get one, take it with you. You know what's going on with that. Okay?
Thank you, John. John has been a pillar in our community since he retired, and he's done a lot of great things. So we really appreciate John. He's been a blessing for all of us. So next, I want to bring up our 87th Assembly Representative, Jimmy Boy Edming, and I just want to say a couple words about him. Jimmy is not a veteran, but Jimmy is there blowing taps and attending funerals at every opportunity he has. He's done so much for him. We're glad he got elected into the 87th Assembly. We're glad he's been here for us. He's been our MC at this event before. We really appreciate everything you've done, Jimmy. Please come on up here and share with us some of that wonderful knowledge.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here today, and thank you for inviting me. And I'd like to talk about three things today. Number one is the fine job that Ron has done for the veterans. And one thing with Ron, I have used him quite a little with different issues that veterans have had, and he's never ever once let me down. He's always come back with an answer, and we've tried to get it done. And for his replacement, Eric Stoker. Now, I've known Eric since he was about this big. And I know his dad, I knew his mom, I knew his grandparents, Elvie and Florence Stoker. They've all been absolute pillars in the Glen Flora area. And I know Eric is going to do a good job for you. Matter of fact, when they were reading off the veterans that had been in different wars, if you noticed, Eric was up 3 times. He's certain. I mean, he knows the issues that you folks have. The other thing I'd like to talk about is, and it was in Madison on this veteran service officer. You know, they wanted to not necessarily eliminate them, but they wanted to eliminate a bunch of them. And I think the idea originally, whoever had the right vision of even doing it, but they were, I'm sure what happened was John Skokas got a call from the Financial Bureau and said, you have to cut your budget. And this was one place that he felt he could do it. And I'm on the Veterans Committee. And anyway, John Skokas, or Ken Skoronsky, Representative Skoronsky is the chair of the Veterans Committee. And they had his name on this bill for the hearing to eliminate the veteran service officer. So I went, and Ken and I are good friends. I went and I said, what the hell is your name on that for? He said, I didn't know nothing about it. But what happened is, I think if you just take, for example, Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls, the 2 cities, they're close in hand. They could eliminate a veteran service officer in one or the other. However, there's twice as many vets there as there would be just by themselves if they were in Rusk County or Barron or wherever they were at. And so we had a hearing. And I'd say there was as many people, veterans and non-vets, at this hearing as there are here today. Not one stood up and said, this was a good idea. I mean, it was just, this is bull runner. And then there was this, the way he walked, you could tell he was a career Marine. I mean, he just come up to the microphone and he said, you know, I've heard everything here today, how everybody's so concerned about the veterans, and I haven't heard one thing about how you're gonna help them except cut this program out. As a matter of fact, Representative Skronsky shut the hearing off before it was done. Now, I can't say to you that the issue is over with, but as far as I'm concerned, it is over with. And I want to make it an issue that you never have to worry about again. Because what happens, and I said when I testified, you know, we have World War II vets that are really getting old. We have Korean War vets that are kind of sort of getting old. And we have Vietnam vets that are right tight behind them. And I'm not going to have it on my conscience that they have to drive to Superior to see a veteran service officer. So luckily in Rusk County, we now have Eric. And I hope that we can have a relationship just like I did with Ron, that it's an open door policy, because I won't have time to call and say, can I have an appointment next Wednesday? You know, it's dropping. If you can see me, you can. If you can't, you can't. So I hope that happens. And then I want to talk about, I got something today that is absolutely precious. This is a picture in Italy from 1945. This is the plane that Elmer Wishart flew in Italy. And then on the back, he's got all the statistics, how big it is and how what it would hold, and I mean, just absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put this in a frame, and this will hang in my office in Madison. One of the finest prized possessions that I've ever gotten. So, thank you, Elmer. I appreciate it. And then I'd like to end by saying, if any of you ever have a problem or you need help with something, you know, give me a call or give my office a call. If you want me to come and see you, the best thing you can do is call my staffer, because she does all my scheduling. And if you see me, hopefully I'll get there, but if she puts it on my schedule, I get there. So anyway, thank you, and I'm honored to be your representative. Thank you.
You know, Jimmy Boy has been another pillar in our community. We have such a great community up here. It's too bad Eau Claire and Chippewa doesn't have as great people. So. I will say that I have had to call Jimmy several times, sometimes at night, sometimes during the day. Most of the time I find him working at the store. He's working just the same job that he did before he became a representative. He breaks his time and goes down there. I've talked to him when he's been up in Superior. I've talked to him when he's been on the road. I've talked to him at home. A great guy, and he's always there. And again, he mentioned something about our County Veteran Service Office. They've always had an open door policy there. You don't have to make an appointment. It helps them if you let them know ahead of time that you're coming. And sometimes when you walk in the door, they have somebody that walked in just before you. So you might have to wait a little bit, but they do an awesome job. So I really want to thank them for that. Next, I want to bring up Dave Zien. We tried to have you roll up here. I just want to say we've had some great speakers here. It's really nice to look out in the crowd and see these faces and see my brothers and sisters and comrades. Are there any women veterans out here? I know we have. Okay. Would you want to stand up and take a stand up? You're a veteran. Oh, there you are. Thank you. Appreciate that. I didn't mean to leave you out on the thing there. So next I'll turn this mic over to Dave Zien.
Thank you very much. I'd like all these flags to be held out left to right so you can see what they say. I'm only going to talk 7 minutes, so every one of these flags, I need volunteers. I need 2 more volunteers to hold these 2 flags, the Christian flag and our nation's first flag, that don't in front of me. Come on up, don't be bashful. And I got to start right out. Outstanding speaker so far, but I got to respectfully disagree with State Representative Jimmy Boy Edming, and it's a little bit triple reverse psychology, opposition to defiance here. But Colonel Morgan and myself were talking Brigadier General-elect. By the way, he doesn't want to be Brigadier General-elect until Colonel Dan Doity is promoted to Brigadier General. So we got to work on you first, Colonel. But This issue about the county veteran service officers, perhaps this is a blessing in disguise. Perhaps the best defense is offense. Perhaps we could utilize this. Maybe they should be getting more money. Maybe they should be getting more responsibility. Maybe we should be also training post-service officers, American Legion, Vietnam Vets of America, veterans of foreign wars, disabled American veterans, AMVETs, go right down the line. Maybe we should be training them. Maybe we should be looking for an increase in the budget. So that's just one little thought. But when you look at these flags, so often we forget about the spiritual transcendence of all those who ever lived, loved, honored, and cherished freedom, even before the Great American Revolution. I don't know, have you seen, we need somebody else with these flags here to just hold them up, please. We need to see all these flags. But bottom line, we're only here for a short moment, a few years. And all of our ancestors that have perished, their families, their spirits are living as long as we remember them, as long as we cherish what they stood for. We recognize that they have served, suffered, and sacrificed. For those who have served, suffered, and sacrificed, the sight, sound, and stench of war are never over. They're never over. And about the families. The families. I mean, John Vacho brought up this whole issue. We were looking at a highway in Wisconsin. We looked at 77, Highway 70, and we never really considered Highway 8. But we were looking at it for years. And then Highway 8 and Representative Edming pushed let me see, to recognize the Mideast conflict highway, to recognize the Persian Gulf, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Afghanistan, Iraq, and the global war on terror. And then Assembly Bill 156, and it didn't pass this session, but that's a blessing in disguise because that gives us time to get momentum. But John Vacho brought up, he says about this highway you had, he says what it really is, let's talk about the hometown heroes. The home front, the prayer warriors. You ask any soldier, any airman, any Marine, any sailor, any man or woman, what was it that kept them going in times of conflict, being away from home? Maybe they had some survivor's guilt. Maybe they're in a war zone, maybe they weren't. Maybe they're in a military base. If you're in a military base now, it's dangerous with all these ISIS-type people, whatever, Muslim-type, but recognize those people. And we're looking at a 4x8 sign, the home front heroes, and it talks about prayer warriors. It talks about people that serve in their home front during times of war. And that is very important. And just, I'm going to pass out a little handout. I don't want to take away from the speakers, so we're going to have them available on the table right behind Joe there by the food. But I'm going to talk about several issues, and I got 4 minutes on. But by issues, some issues that I think are important. I would like you, there's 11 different points on this one. 11 points, every 11 issues. I would like everyone to take home to your other veterans organization, your other auxiliary, and say, hey, these are resolutions that should be looked at our state conventions this summer. Most of us have state conventions. One talks about, in 1989, we looked at all the veterans memorials in the world. We labeled them. It was quite an effort to label them, to find them. It was unbelievable how many they are. There's all kinds of little things about Wisconsin veterans in France, in Germany, in the Pacific Islands, all over the United States. We want to do it again. And we're going to be asking Representative Edming to help lead that charge. But to do it again, but to recognize also what kind of veterans monuments and memorials. Memorial means the dead, tribute means the living, monuments, but throughout this state. And we want to include the K through 12 schools, the technical colleges and universities. Now look what you have around you here. Look at this. And John, what you did last year at that Veterans Park, we turned that into the State Historical Society, the Park Veterans Affairs. That deserves an award. I think an award. And I turned that in. I wrote a letter to the editor. I'm not sure if it was published. We were so impressed by what you've done up here, recognizing all those individuals, not just a family, but all the families were recognized. And it's like coming back home to Rusk County. But everybody should do that. That should inspire every one of the 72 counties so that they emulate, so that they learn by example, so they become empowered and exalted and inspired to do the same thing. The Bible says, James 4:17, if you know of good, you don't do it, you're guilty of sin. We're guilty of sin if we don't do this, John. Jimmy boy, all of you, if we don't do something good. And then James 5:17 says, 5:16, that repenting and praying for others heals ourselves. A lot of us got post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of us have had loved ones killed in war. A lot of us, going back 2-3 generations, might have had a great uncle, prisoner of war. A lot of us, I went to a prisoner of war funeral in Madison, and this Don Hellinger was in the Hanoi Hilton, and I can't wait to hear Dan talk, but it was very impressive to see that and to be a part of that. In closing, there's so many other items, and when you get that handout, I better talk just there are 46 named highways and bridges in the state, only 32 signs are up. We're looking at putting up signs. On June 17th could be a big day, because Gary Lutzel, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, after the Vietnam Vets of America and the Eau Claire Chamber of Commerce got a great big ride on the 16th, on the Thursday motorcycle ride. We'd like you to be there, any motorcycles, and if you don't, I got 1-for-1 on my motorcycle. And but anyway, on the 17th, on Friday, Gary doesn't have nothing to do. And we're going to go to a number of locations putting up these 4-by-8-foot signs. So if we got some, the Wisconsin Veterans Tribute, the Halle Peace Park, the Area Historic Tribute, maybe the High Ground if we get permission, but we're going to be putting up a lot of these signs. And when you get this handout, you see all the other items. I can't thank the committee, and I can't thank the VMA for all you do. And by the way, Colonel Morgan did an outstanding job yesterday. I hope you can see that video with his speech. It was just outstanding. And we should put in money to his speech, honorarium, but we get 10%. So in closing, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for all you do day in and day out. And thank you for the youth. And these are why we're doing it, these kids, because we must have a strong society, a strong government, and if we care, and never will one generation forget about another. Our women veterans at the Veterans Tribute in Canada are really pushing hard to be recognized something.